friends, and welcome to the Microbe Kitchen today. And today in Microbe Kitchen we are making sauerkraut. So I don't know if you've heard of sauerkraut, probably have. Sauerkraut is just pickled cabbage. And so today we will be making that, and all of this is possible because microbes like bacteria are capable of making things like pickled cabbage. And so what you're going to need today to make this too is you're going to need a cabbage. And today I have a 1 head of medium-sized cabbage that I've already cut in half here. You're going to need some salt. So I've already measured out about 2 tablespoons of salt. You're going to need a jar to actually put your cabbage in. So I just have a jar here, medium-sized. You're going to need a cloth to cover the top of the jar, a rubber band, and for me, I'm also using caraway seeds for flavoring. And you're going to need something to weigh down your cabbage. So for me here, I only have a small sized jar that will fit in the medium sized jar. And yeah, let's get started. Welcome back, friends. So what you need to do before anything is make sure that you've washed both of your hands before you've worked on this. Again, we are going to be eating this, so we make sure that our hands are clean and that everything else we're using is clean. So yeah, that's the first thing you need to do. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about where the microbiology is involved here. So the only reason we can ferment cabbage, so fermentation is basically bacteria that break down sugar and convert it into something else. So in this case, the bacteria are converting the sugar in the cabbage to something called lactic acid. And so you might have heard lactic acid if you've ever had yogurt or cheese. So that rancid, sour kind of taste is basically lactic acid. And so if you even had pickle before, you know there's a bit of a sour taste to it, and that's essentially what it is. And so these bacteria are actually found on the cabbage. They're all over the surface of this cabbage right here. And what we're doing is we're just giving it the ability to break down the sugar in the cabbage and turn it into lactic acid. And so that's basically fermentation, or what you might have heard of as pickling. So first thing you need to do is I've already gone ahead and washed my hands. The first thing you need to do is cut your cabbage. So you might want to ask an adult for help here because we are handling knives. So if you can get your parents or somebody in your house to help you out. So I've already gone ahead and sliced my cabbage off camera, but what you basically need are these small shredded, kind of like ribbon-like slices. And today, just for the sake of this, we're doing a very small batch. So we're just doing, I'm just gonna do a half cabbage here just for the sake of this, but you can make more if you wanted more. So that would be the first step. We've already gone ahead and cut out the cabbage. And so what I have here is just all of my cut out cabbage. Like I said, friends, the microbes are already in here. They're already on the surface of the cabbage. And so now we have already gone ahead and shredded this. Now we're going to allow the bacteria to actually do their thing. The thing is, the sugar that they need to use for fermentation is actually inside of the cabbage. So we need to let it all out. So the way to do this is actually by using salt. So I've gone ahead and measured about 2 tablespoons of salt. So I'm just going to add a little bit on top here, and then I'm going to start mixing it in. And so just make sure that it's all nicely mixed in. And then what you'll want to do, and this will take some time, is you'll want to make sure that you're mixing and you're kind of squeezing it a little bit. And so you keep doing that. So mixing it and giving it a little bit of a squeeze, and that this process is actually going to take some time. It'll take about 10 minutes or so, but you'll notice that your cabbage will become a little bit moist, and there will be some liquid that will be secreted by the cabbage. So I'm going to add a little bit more salt here. And don't worry, if your cabbage is too salty later on, if your sauerkraut is too salty, you can always just give it a quick rinse with water. But keep continuing to do so. Keep that mixing and squeezing. So yeah, be patient. It'll take about 10 minutes or so. But that's basically what you need to get out all of the liquid. And with the liquid comes out the sugar for the bacteria. Okay, so 10 minutes later, I've already gone ahead and did the mixing. As you can see, it's starting to look a little bit more soft. And if you look at the bottom here, there's actually all that liquid. So this is the liquid that had come out from the actual cabbage, which again contains all the sugars that the bacteria would need to ferment this cabbage. Again, I have my hands washed. Make sure that your hands are washed. But at this step here, this is the point, and it's completely optional, where you can add caraway seeds. This is just used for flavoring purposes, so if you wanted to add that and give your sauerkraut some flavor, you can totally do that. So I've already gone ahead here and measured about 1.5 tablespoons of caraway seeds. So again, this is the point if you wanted to do it. And then you just want to mix it in. So again, what the liquid we definitely need, this is what is called brine. Brine is just a high salt solution. And so I've already gone ahead and mixed this all in. Now what I'll do is I'm going to grab my jar. Okay, so now what you want to do is take out your cabbage out of the bowl and start stuffing it into a jar. So I have my jar here, and what you'll want to do is start stuffing this as tightly as you possibly can. So make sure that all of this is sitting quite nice and snug in there. So I'm gonna do this, and always pick a jar that's a lot larger than how much you're fermenting, because what will happen over time is some of this liquid that we're about to pour might start overflowing. So make sure that there's enough room in there for the cabbage and the water as well. So I've gone ahead in here, and don't worry about making a mess, that's totally fine. Just make sure that you have something down there to pick up the leftovers. Okay, so now I already have everything stuffed in. So as you can see, I'm pressing it all down to try to make room. And as you can see, if you take a closer look here, this liquid here that's already in there. And so this is what the bacteria need to start the fermentation process. And now what we're gonna do, so as you can see here, I just have some of the leftover liquid. And now that the cabbage is fully submerged and there's just the liquid left, you're gonna pour the liquid that we have here on top. So one of the things that this bacteria needs, or the lactic acid bacteria, is they need a completely oxygen-free environment to do this whole process. And so we have to make sure there's no oxygen and that the cabbage is solution. So make sure that your cabbage is fully submerged like so. And again, the liquid is right here. As you can see, our cabbage is not fully submerged. The liquid needs to be a little bit on top, higher than the cabbage. So what I'm going to do here is I've already gone ahead and prepared a bit of brine, which is just water mixed in with some salt. And as you can see, it's just a salty water. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour it on top, just enough to have it submerged completely. So if you want to take a closer look here on this, you can see that our cabbage is fully submerged. And again, my hands are clean, so I can do this. And if you're kind of queasy, you can always use a pair of gloves. So as you can see here, our cabbage is fully submerged in there and it's ready to go. Now the next step would be to add our weight. I'm just using another jar, which again, I've washed the surface of. This is just what I have at home, so feel free to use whatever you have at home available. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this down here. This will hold the cabbage down to so it won't move. Again, you'll want to make sure that the cabbage is completely submerged, otherwise you'll get mold forming. And so one of the things that might happen, and you might notice, is if your fermentation is going a little bit faster than normal, sometimes that liquid brine might spill over. So what I do suggest and recommend is to have a bowl underneath this container when you go and wait for it to ferment. That way, if there's any spillover or anything, there's something to catch that spillover. So now that I have my cabbage completely submerged, again, the water level, as you can notice, is a little bit higher than the cabbage. I have my weight secured to keep it all down and nice and snug for the bacteria. Now all you need to do is get a cloth of some sort. So what I have here is just a cloth that again is clean. So make sure that again everything is nice and clean. So what you're gonna do, and don't use a lid, So if you use a lid, and this jar does come with a lid, what happens is you're completely cutting off the oxygen supply, which is good for the bacteria. But what happens is the bacteria not only produce the lactic acid, they also produce carbon dioxide. And so carbon dioxide is what causes, if you think of things like pop, for example, there's all these little bubbles that form. That's basically CO2. And so what happens is if you completely cut off and do not let any air exhaust out, what sometimes happens is that the CO2 buildup can happen, and there's going to be too much pressure in there. So make sure you don't put a lid on and instead go for a cloth. The cloth is going to keep your environment, nice and oxygen free, but it also allows some of the air to go out, which is kind of what we want, and it also keeps away things like dust and any dirt or anything like insects, for example. And then you'll just want to wrap it with a rubber band here. So I'm just going to put a nice little rubber band here, and oops, that happens. It's all good. So what you want, yeah, basically that. And yeah, basically we're done. So now we have our sauerkraut ready to ferment, and basically we've done it. Now it's all up to the bacteria to do their magic and turn this into nice sauerkraut. Now sauerkraut itself takes about something like this, a small batch takes about 3 days to even maybe a few weeks. As I said maybe earlier, the sauerkraut, the way you know that it's actually done fermenting is by taste. So what you want to do is daily take a look at it. Make sure you look around here near the brine. If you notice anything like bubbles, this is CO2 forming. That means there's microbes actually acting. And you also want to notice anything like, sometimes you might notice something like a white foam layer. That's again, just, you can take that off. What you can do if there's any white scum on the side, you can just scoop that out. If you notice mold, for example, forming, don't panic. It's fine. It happens. Just know that the cabbage itself is preserved in the lactic acid. So even if there's mold, chances are your cabbage is fine. And what you can do is just scoop out the mold, and it's fine. But again, these are the things that you want to be watching out for. If anything tastes too pungent, or the smell is rancid, or something is off about it, use your best judgment and likely start from scratch. But if it tastes fine, chances are it's fine. So again, I have this. Take a look at it every day, and you can taste it. There's really no wrong or right. Technically, the sauerkraut is good at any stage of the process, and it's safe to eat. But once you're happy with the taste, what you can do is you can pour out a bit of that brine out and just store it in the fridge, and it's kind of good for a few weeks, I would think. So yeah, and what I'm going to do here, and usually one of the things I will say always with sauerkraut is the fermentation depends on the temperature of your kitchen. So if your kitchen is warm, chances are your fermentation will go a lot faster because bacteria like warmer temperatures. And if your kitchen is cold, it might take longer days to get it going. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to store this in a nice corner and just kind of leave it do its thing, and then just kind of check on it every few days. But that's really it, friends. That's all it takes to make sauerkraut. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you make this at home too. But now you too can make sauerkraut.